is Chapter 3, Food Sanitation Management. It's a very short chapter on basically food allergens and contamination. Should not take you very long to complete it. There will be a quiz as usual at the end. When you start looking at chemical contaminants that could be found in a food facility, there are many types and they can cause a wide range of foodborne illnesses. If you think about from a restaurant to a supermarket to a large-scale packing plant, they're all going to be a little different in terms of the sanitizers, the bulk that they use, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into just a couple of these things, things you got to be familiar with and be aware of. First, let's look at toxic metals. There are three that are listed here on your slide, lead being the most important here probably, but all of them have some difficulty in causing some illnesses for people. Of course, we also always used to think of lead pipes, but there are some lead that's found in pewter, and so that can be used to make certain types of pitchers and other tableware, so those things have got to be avoided. You'll see on the next slide why these toxic metals can be problematic in foods. Second one there is copper. Sometimes certain types of cookware, pots and pans will have copper in it, copper lace, copper lined. And the last one is zinc. You find zinc is basically the galvanizing agent that a lot of metal is coated with. So buckets, tubs, other things may be galvanized. And again, flip to the next slide and you'll see why these things you got to worry about them in foods, especially the type of food. As you can see there with toxic metals, the problem becomes if you have something that's very acidic, if you prepare it, cook it, store it in those things, basically the acidity will allow that toxic metal to leach out and get into the food and then can poison people. Say you're doing something very acidic like tomatoes. Just off the top of my head, that would cause a toxic metal poisoning or it could lead to it. So only food grade materials can be used in a food operations. It's something that will be pretty much enforced no matter where you go. Another thing you can kind of read in the book, though, that carbonated beverage machines can be problematic if the carbonated water is sucked back into the copper lines. They could leach out copper and then could actually poison somebody through a carbonated drink. So it's another problem with the water. Another thing that could be problematic is just food service chemicals. There's a wide range of things that can be used. The biggest thing is storing and handling them correctly according to the local health departments, of course, as the manufacturer's directions, how to be applied, how it's to be diluted. Those types of things have to be stored, room temperature, in a dry storage place, those types of things. But any type of chemical, cleaner, sanitizer, polish, a machine lubricant, if you get into large operations, certain types of edible oils and greases. The biggest thing you can see the guidelines for them, they should not be stored around food, utensils, or equipment. They should have their own storage place. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's directions for application, storage, dilution, temperature, those types of things. Be careful if we have to use it when food is being prepared. Make sure we don't get any cross-contamination because some of these can be highly toxic. Also, when transferring to a new container, let's say we got one that we like to use, make sure we label the new one so we know what it is that's in the bottle. And of course, only use specific lubricants for food equipment. Again, industrial oils are not the same as food grade. They need to be an edible or a food grade type of lubricant or oil or grease to be able to be used in a food operation. Physical contaminants that can cause people harm. We've really talked about this already in a previous chapter, so not too much, but on page 3-4 in your Surf Safe course book, you can kind of look at some of the things that physical contamination can really cause. Most of it's going to be more of an injury than illness, but some of them can cause injury. You can see there are metal shavings from cans, staples, glass, blades, fingernails, hair, and bandages, dirt, bones, jewelry, fruit pits. Those things can be just more problematic for causing an injury than probably an illness, but they are considered contaminants in food. Alright, let's get into food allergens real quick. A food allergy basically is the body's negative response to a particular food protein. Some people, it can be almost instantaneous when they have an allergic reaction to a certain type of food product. Some of them it can take several hours, maybe even days, but probably on the hours end. I'll give you kind of an example. I have actually two food allergens. I'm allergic to yeast. I'm allergic to tomatoes. So they cause my allergic reaction. We'll talk about some of these symptoms, and I'll tell you what I have. But basically, some of the common symptoms: itching in and around the mouth, face, or scalp, tightening of the throat, wheezing, shortness of breath, hives, swelling of the face, eyes, hands, or feet, abdominal cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. Loss of consciousness, and some people are so allergic it can cause death. We'll see some of the common allergens on the next slide, which I am not allergic to those. But some things to consider when you're talking about food allergens is that some people are highly allergic to them, and they have to be aware of what's in food. If you use tree nuts or milk, it must be usually labeled. My allergy actually affects my sinuses and basically clogs me up, so I have trouble breathing. So that is, I always think of the movie, one of the Dr. Dolittle movies with the lady that, I think it's Dolittle, but anyways, she likes to eat like shellfish or something, a crab, and it swells her up really big. So some things are highly allergic to people. It's just kind of how. The most common food allergens, as you can see there, are listed and they are in no sequential order. Peanuts and tree nuts are probably the most problematic, followed by milk and dairy products, those that are lactose intolerant. Some people are allergic to either lysozyme or certain things in egg and egg proteins or egg products. I talked about shellfish on the previous slide from a movie, but fish and shellfish. Wheat, some people are allergic to gluten that is in wheat, so that becomes a problem. And also the protein that is found in soy or soy products. Some people cannot have that, so they could have milk instead. Maybe some people that are lactose intolerant can't have regular milk, but they could have soy milk. So these are some of the common food allergens you can find with most people. The biggest thing on preventing allergic reaction is make sure people know what's in an item. If you go to a restaurant, ask what's in it if you're allergic to something. If you're allergic to sesame seeds or peanuts. I know if you go to Dairy Queen and order something, they use common blenders, and there's a warning that says your product may have come contaminated with peanut or nut products. So tell the customer how the dish is prepared. If there are secret ingredients that could cause an allergic reaction, they need to really be aware of that. And that's why most people try to keep it as simple as possible. But that's not always the case in a restaurant or any type of operation. This is kind of looking at preventing allergic reactions by people in a kitchen, and you can kind of read through these, but it's kind of just some common sense for don't cook different types of food in the same fryer. That could cause somebody's allergic to a certain type of protein. They might not be able to have their fried potatoes out of the same one. Don't put food on surfaces that touch allergens. If somebody's crushing peanuts for a sundae and they don't wash it really good and they use something else on it later, chicken breast, could contaminate it. Wash, rinse, sanitize everything before you're prepping food. Wash your hands, change gloves, and make sure. A lot of people use specific types of equipment for customers with allergens or allergies. That way they don't get an allergic reaction. That's the end of Chapter 3. Complete your quiz and submit your answers online through email.